whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here in this place of memory and hope. Here we share our joys and our struggles, our quest for what is good and true, our journey toward greater justice and compassion, in space made holy by our presence here together. Welcome to video worship for May 30th at the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. I'm Ann Marsh, Worship Associate. Our minister, the Reverend John Cullinan, is preparing to leave for his sabbatical, which begins June 1st. During John's sabbatical, we'll be hearing from a wonderful variety of pulpit guests, and I'm delighted to introduce today's speaker, Mike McNaughton. Mike has been a member of this congregation for more than 40 years, and on in-person Sundays, he is our greeter extraordinaire. Mike was born in South Africa and has lived and worked in many places in Africa and Asia. He grew up across the street from an elephant, and therein lies the seed of inspiration for this service, Mega, Make Elephants Great Again. Welcome, Mike, and welcome to you all.
We believe in caring for our planet Earth, the home we share with all living things. As we consider our similarities with other living things, may we come to understand them and ourselves more deeply.
We speak our affirmation each week, but far from being an empty ritual, these words remind us of why we come together and of the promises we make to each other and to our wider world. In that awareness, I invite you to join in the affirmation.
Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve life in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each and with all.
No words have been written in our virtual book of joys and sorrows this week, but we all carry with us songs of joy and hope and tears of sorrow and loss. So let us take a moment now to bring to our minds and hearts whatever joys and sorrows we are feeling this day. In a time of shared silence, let us lift up the brokenness and the wholeness, the endings and the beginnings, the beauty and the struggles of our lives, knowing that together we can be instruments of peace and hope and love.
Dr. Paul McLean proposed a three-part model of the human brain. This is helpful to people like me who like stories with the number 3. The 3 little pigs and the 3 bears. Dr. McLean called the 3 parts reptilian, paleomammalian, and neomammalian, and I prefer to call them the lizard brain, the elephant brain, and the monkey brain. The monkey brain is the conscious mind, and the lizard brain is the part we share with the reptiles. In between is the largest part, the elephant brain, the unconscious mind. According to this metaphor, imagine three animals. The lizard's job is to push buttons, such as the one marked angry. This makes the elephant angry, and the elephant then decides what to do. The monkey's job is to tell everyone he is in charge and to invent reasons for the elephant's actions. Scientific measurements show that this rationalization comes a small fraction of a second after the elephant brain decision, but the monkey brain is not aware of this time difference, and our conscious mind believes it has made a rational decision. These metaphors use animal images to understand humans. Perhaps real monkeys have metaphors of their own. I imagine that when young monkeys become too noisy, the adult monkeys say, "Calm down, you are behaving like a human. Why can't you be quiet, like an elephant?" Elephants make sounds like trumpeting when they are excited or agitated. Most of the time they are talking with their friends, using sounds we cannot hear, with tones 2 octaves below the lowest note on a piano. Meditation calms our monkey mind so we can hear the elephant. Some meditators use a low chant. To talk to the elephant, I recommend a lower note, 2 octaves below the lowest note on a piano. Listen. Nellie the elephant lived in the park across the street from my first childhood home in South Africa. She loved children, and children loved her, and parents trusted her with their children. Nellie taught me that all animals are equal, and it was clear to me that she was great in every way I could understand that word. She could carry lots of children on her back. Nellie was certainly much greater than I was, yet she treated me as her equal. There were also monkeys in the park. I wanted to be a monkey. They climbed trees all the way to the top, and I wanted to be with them. But my mother would not let me climb trees all the way to the top, and it was not fair. My mother did not agree that all animals were equal. For example, the monkeys took whatever they wanted, but my mother would not let me do the same. When the monkeys took something, she laughed, but if I took something, she called it stealing. And if the monkeys didn't want something, like a banana skin, they threw it on the ground. But when I did that, my mother called it littering, and she told me to put it in a trash bin, and it was not fair. My mother had different standards for monkeys and children. At first, I thought that was because monkeys were kings. Because, I thought, kings can do whatever they want. But she told me that I was better than the monkeys, and it was confusing. One day, some adult humans decided to plant new trees in the park, and Nellie ate them. Elephants eat a lot. They eat an enormous amount every day, and the adults were angry. Why? My mother always told me to eat all my vegetables, so why was it wrong for Nellie to eat the trees? It was not fair. and I wanted to make elephants great again. As I grew older, I began to see that my mother believed her children were better than anyone else. Well, mothers are allowed to believe that, but that doesn't mean I had to believe it. And I began to see that some people in Africa were treated very unfairly, and I wanted to change that. Nellie the elephant and the monkeys lived free, while some humans were sent to prison, and it was not fair. I had difficulty knowing what to do because I didn't understand people. I did not understand the unconscious parts of the brain that were really making the decisions. These people were not afraid of Nellie the elephant or the monkeys, but they were afraid of other humans, and fear drove their actions. Nellie the elephant loved all the children, and all the children loved Nellie, and I could understand that. The monkeys were more complicated. I think they liked themselves more than they liked me, and I didn't like that. People were the most complicated because what they said was not always the same as what they meant. Horton the elephant said, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%, and I like that. I want to like all animals and all people. But sometimes it's difficult." Long ago, a man called Jalaluddin Rumi said we should welcome everyone. And our hymn, "Come, Come, Whoever You Are," embraces this welcome. Listen.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, 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 whoever you are, condemned, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of disbelieving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, whoever you are, condemned, worshipper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of disbelieving. Come yet again, come.
Jalaluddin Rumi said we should welcome others and also welcome ourselves, even when unexpected thoughts come into our conscious mind from our unconscious mind. In this reading, he calls these thoughts guests. Here is what he said. This body is a guest house. Every morning a new guest comes running in. Do not say, "The guest is a burden to me," for presently he will fly back into non-existence. Whatever comes into your heart from the invisible world is your guest. Entertain it well. Every day, too, at every moment, a different thought comes, like an honored guest, into your heart. Regard thought as a person, since every person derives their worth from thought and spirit. If the thought of sorrow is spoiling joy, yet it is making preparations for joy. It violently sweeps your house clear in order that new joy from the source of good may enter in. It scatters the yellow leaves from the bough of the heart in order that incessant green leaves may grow. It uproots the old joy in order that new delight may march in from beyond. Sorrow pulls up the crooked, rotten root in order that it may disclose the root that is veiled from sight. Whatever sorrow may cause to be shed from the heart or may take away, it will bring better in exchange. Whenever the thought of sorrow comes into your heart, meet it with smiles and laughter. The idea of the monkey mind is rooted in ancient Buddhism and preserved in the ancient stories of the Monkey King, some of which originated thousands of years ago at a time when there were apes in China. In America, the comparison of humans with apes is uncomfortable with negative undertones. And this is unfortunate because we can learn a lot about ourselves from stories, metaphors, observation, and serious scientific studies. I have learned a lot from animals and animal stories. For now, I want to focus on the theme of loyalty, beginning with the Monkey King and how he changes. In the Chinese stories, the character of the Monkey King is transformed. At the beginning of this long series of stories, the monkey is selfish, undisciplined, irresponsible, and making trouble for everyone. Until eventually the Bodhisattva Guanyin gives him a mission to accompany the famous Buddhist monk Xuanzang on a pilgrimage from China through Afghanistan to India during the years 629 to 645. 1,000-year-old images of Guanyin depict her as a competent person, fully capable of persuading an egotistical monkey to be a loyal companion during a long and dangerous pilgrimage across deserts and over mountains. The true story of this pilgrimage was meticulously documented in 12 volumes with the boring title, Great Tang Records of the Western Regions. The Monkey King version is more exciting, enlivened by ancient folk tales dating back thousands of years. During this long pilgrimage, the Monkey King changes. Guanyin understood him, and his egotism disappears as he becomes loyal to his companions. According to these ancient stories, there are resources buried in our subconscious minds. And in these stories, the monsters are not just monsters. They can be understood. And a few of them eventually become loyal to the Monkey King and his companions. This pilgrimage took Swanjang through Afghanistan and the ancient city of Balkh, birthplace of Jalaluddin Rumi. The stories of Guanyin also passed through Balkh, along a string of Buddhist city-states between Afghanistan and China. For thousands of years, the city of Balkh was the meeting point of many roads and many religions. It is now in ruins, a reminder of the age-old question, why can't we all just get along? The stories of Guanyin and the poems of Jalaluddin Rumi offer a vision of understanding. Can we learn from the Monkey King stories, and can we also learn by understanding the apes that are closest to humans, bonobos and chimpanzees? The bonobos live on the left bank of the Congo River, while the chimps live on the right bank. And their very different societies have been compared with the left and right in politics. The chimps are dominated by aggressive males. Male chimps number only about half the number of females because they kill each other. In contrast, bonobo societies are ruled by close-knit groups of females that keep the peace, so the numbers of male and female bonobos are about equal. A bonobo that crosses into chimp territory is killed by gangs of chimps that guard their territory. However, bonobos have not been observed to kill chimps. I have deep prejudices buried deep in my unconscious brain that one of these ways is right and the other is wrong. Which way would Guanyin favor? The jungle on the left of the Congo River is the same as the jungle on the right, so why do bonobos and chimps have such different lifestyles? My logical monkey brain tells me that one way is the right way, and if I can persuade those who are wrong to do it the right way, they will all get along and live happily ever after. If we could change the king of the chimps, perhaps the society would change. Historically, that often worked with human societies. However, humans are almost unique in their ability to unite under the leadership of a single individual, a king, a queen, a president, a religious leader, a cult leader. Other animals do not have kings or anything remotely comparable. Recent research with electronic tracking systems has studied the behavior of herds to see if an individual leader decides when and where the herd will move, and the research shows that almost all herds work more like a democracy. Some dominant animals have more influence than others, but there's a network of communication and a decision is reached by consensus. There are no kings except among humans and in stories told by humans. Elephant herds are unusual because they have a single leader, usually the oldest female, the matriarch. And how has this system served the elephants? For millions of years, the elephants were great, content and uncontested. In Africa, humans had little incentive to hunt elephants. An elephant has too much meat for a small group of hunter-gatherers unless they have a natural freezer like people who lived in the far frozen north. The elephants were great until a few thousand years ago when the ivory trade provided humans with an incentive to hunt elephants. At present, elephant hunting is controlled. However, we delude ourselves if we think this has solved the elephant's problems. The more important problem remains: humans have stolen their land. In Africa, this began a few thousand years ago when the Bantu people migrated from the north, bringing domesticated cattle and agriculture. The Bantu united into tribes of 1 million people under strong leaders, kings like Shaka Zulu and Mzilikazi. And they took the land from the ancient hunter-gatherers and from the elephants. Somehow and sometime, humans evolved the ability to unite and follow a single leader, and no other animal does this. The great wildebeest migration can muster 1 million animals, but there is no single leader. If 1 million elephants could unite as humans do, they could take back their land and become great again. Why do people follow a leader into war? Sometimes without question. When I was young, I was strongly influenced by reason and logic, and I puzzled about wars because they made no sense. Wars have two sides, and I reasoned that one of these two sides must be right, which meant that half of the people must be wrong. The same logic would suggest that during the recent US election, half the voters must be right and half must be wrong. However, elephants do not see it this way. Elephants don't use reason and logic to decide where to direct their faith and loyalty. They are faithful to their leader. All of the elephants are right, and none of them are wrong. For thousands of years, there was no question about where humans should direct their loyalty. It was to their community, clan, tribe, religion. I wonder if we're deluding ourselves when we think our loyalty is based on reason and logic. Our logical, conscious mind has convinced us that our decisions are logical. And on the other hand, recent research indicates that the unconscious parts of our brain drive our decisions more than we realize. Perhaps our elephant brain directs our loyalty. It doesn't surprise me that humans remain stubbornly loyal to one leader, no matter what. The elephants would understand. And don't try to argue with an elephant's loyalty. Humans can learn from stories about animals and from observations of animals, and conversely, bonobos seem genuinely interested in learning from humans. And Nellie the elephant was genuinely interested in humans. Perhaps elephants could unite like humans. Perhaps they need a 1 million elephant march. Their movement would be called Occupy Africa. Their leader would be the mother of all matriarchs, and they would make elephants great again. May it be so.
Thank you, Mike, for your thoughtful words, your humor, and the challenges you offer us. Next week, our pulpit guest will be Susan Gisler, who will explore wise and skillful speech in our polarized times. If this is your first time with us, we invite you to sign our virtual guest book. And everyone is reminded that you are welcome to submit personal joys and sorrows for our virtual candle lighting as well. The Reverend John Cullinan will be on sabbatical from June 1st to November 1st, and during that time, we invite you to send your questions and comments to our church office, where our administrator will route them to the appropriate people. The links for doing all these things will be found in the service notes under this YouTube video. For information on upcoming events and other ways to connect with this church, check our Facebook pages and our email announcements. Thank you for being with us.
Our offering for the month of May is taken up on behalf of Espanola Pathways Shelter. The Pathways Shelter is a low-barrier shelter serving men and women ages 18 and up with shelter, crisis services, and life skills and job training. 100% of all the offering collected this month will be given to our partner. Please use the Givelify app on your mobile device or use the link in the service notes below. And may what you give bring you joy.
May we have the diversity of monkeys and the loyalty of elephants. In the words of Jalaluddin Rumi, welcome them all. May we calm our monkey mind and listen to our elephant brain. Hamagashli, go in peace.
As we